So nobody so far has left us a question on Spotify, which is great.
No, just
As you
you
say,
and me as a joke.
That's good. But obviously, like you say, it's not really dumb behavior. So here's a test for every listener right now. On your phone, go to onlinequestions.org, and then in the box type 27108. That's 27108. Send us a message. Completely anonymous. Ask us a question. Actually, what's more fun? Tell us something you don't like, or insult us. Send us an insult. We won't know who it's from, and then we read out the best ones in the next episode. That's not a joke. Do it.
Yeah, just do it. We love some more interactions. Feels like we're talking into the void.
So who are we talking to today, yo?
We're talking to Jide, who is an agency owner, more precisely an agency on the topic of TikTok. It's a TikTok agency for all sorts of content, influencer content, paid, organic content. I think they're doing a lot, but we'll ask him. And I met him a few years ago, I think 4 or 5 years ago. So we're going to talk about that as well. But yeah, we're basically going to dive into the world of TikTok as a channel, mostly. Geek around that. See what's the latest and greatest, and hopefully people will get a few insights from it to take home. Let's do it. Jide.
Hello, how you doing?
Good. Sorry about the link.
Because I always carry these mics like everywhere I go. Because I got two mics. I got one that I have like a proper pod set up in my house, and then after I got these for like when I'm vlogging and stuff.
That's nice. It sounds really good.
Content creator, always prepared.
I'm trying to be like you guys.
Man, there's nothing prepared about this.
We're so freestyle. Well, thank you for joining us, Jide. It's really nice to have you for this episode. We have slightly less time than we said we would, so if you have to jump out at some point at the end of the hour, just let us know as well. Are you okay with time, or is it time?
Yeah, I'm okay till 1:15, which is fine.
Okay. Cool.
So,
nice. We did a little intro while we were waiting already, but it would be nice to hear a little bit from you directly. Who you are, where you're calling from. like a radio show. Just do a little intro from you, and that'll be nice, and we'll get from there.
Yeah, cool. So obviously my name's Jide Maduako. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO at Yoke Network. So at Yoke, we essentially help mobile advertisers, and now more than just mobile advertisers, to grow through creator-led content. So we do that in the format of, we have a self-service platform, we have agency side of the business, and an influencer app. So if you're an influencer, you could just jump on and get paid to make content. So yeah, that's a bit about what the business.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, last time we met, you mentioned self-service influencer app, but I don't know if it was launched yet. So that's cool. Good to hear that it's evolving. And we met, when did we meet the first time? 5 years ago? 4 years ago.
We met a while ago. I was trying to get you guys at Depop.
Yeah, that's how we met.
I was trying to close Depop.
It was a battle even for me internally. It was a battle. The context briefly for that was that I think I told you this back then, but we were like one of the first, if not the first, advertisers to do ads on the platform in the UK in like very early 2019, I think it was. And I was curious to like develop it and like look into the influencer side of things, working with creator already, and that's how we found each other. We had a few meetings, and It didn't go very far, but I fought a lot internally to try and get somewhere with this. It was hard. Like even a company like Depop was thinking about TikTok in a very weird way,
Yeah,
at least in the
but it was
senior management.
it was a different time anyway, because I think even
Mm.
now you only see the real adoption of the platform, and everybody's kind of actually approaching it the way that it should be and being able to innovate. But still, even 2 years ago, like everyone still thought of social the same way they thought of Instagram. Like it was still
Mm.
about how kind of fake that things were, and it wasn't as authentic, and it was like very brand guidelines, and you still have your legal problems like when you're working, or bureaucracy when you're working with partners now. But it makes sense anyway. I managed to get a friend out of it, so it was good.
Nice.
Oh, you guys are so
Yeah.
nice. On that point, Jide, do you find that brands are just becoming way more accepting of just having content that's just not with brand guidelines at all on platforms like TikTok?
Well, what I think is that brands now have gone, I wouldn't say completely to the other side because it's still very early. But what brands are doing is now they're trying to chase trends and they're trying to be too cool. So I see some brands that are trying to be too cool, and it's like, um, I think there's always value in eyeballs, but it's also like, how do you curate a story? And like, if you see the features on TikTok now, where they're trying to have it like longer form in terms of 1 minute plus videos, you can do 10-minute videos on the platform. I think for a lot of brands, the key thing is that it's like, how do you curate your story instead of just
Mm.
being trendy?
Mm.
I think that that's important.
Interesting. Yeah, you want people to be looking, but you don't want people to be cringing, right? So that's
Mm.
the balance
Yeah.
that you got to do.
Yeah, for sure. Because like I was listening to a podcast recently, and they were talking about David Ogilvy, and then he was talking about, I think it's either Rolls Royce or Bentley as a case study, and what he did is that he read through the actual book and the manual for the car, and he found out that when you drive at 50 miles an hour, that the actual car, the only thing that you can hear in it is the clock ticking on the dashboard, and then he used that in the advertising campaign. And what you realize is that to everybody and to every brand, your business is very mundane to you. It's run the mill stuff. But even if you guys, like for what you're doing with marketing, if you were to talk about it in and tell the story of your personal story, then that's something that's interesting. So I think it's all about curating your own personal experience and then tailoring that to your audience, and that's where
Mm.
the big opportunity is.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's a very good example. The other example that I always have in mind when it comes to, especially when it comes to TikTok, is the Duolingo case study. Like it's
Yeah.
like everywhere, and like that team and the people behind that change. In like kind of strategy and using the owl and stuff, like is now
Yeah,
everyone is trying to have their own owl, and it's like that's kind
yeah,
of what you're saying. It's like if it's not part of who you are, it's not going to work. Like find your Ogilvy example, basically.
yeah,
What's the detail in your company, in your story, that will make it stand out, not
yeah,
just
for sure,
replicate. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. I think the key thing it boils down to is that a lot of advertisers need to remember also that when you hear a case study, the moment's probably gone.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
like, you need to be forward thinking, not just based on like what you've heard, but then say,
Mm.
okay, this is what they've done. How do we do it a bit differently for our own
Yeah.
sake?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Exactly.
you don't want to be the weirdest thing I've seen recently, and I'm behind the curve on TikTok for sure, but the NPCs.
Oh,
And
yeah,
when are we
yeah.
going to see like Sainsbury's doing their fucking
Oh, I think it would work. I think it would work. Walking through the shop, doing like picking up stuff, and
Actually,
like
that's a good shout. That is a good idea. Actually, I
it
hadn't
would
thought of it like
work.
that.
Like so I think yeah, the TikTok is an interesting platform because
Mm.
there's so many subcultures on it.
Mm.
So and the way that I look at it is that it's so early on, even now, because the ads platform's like 2.5, 3 years old. So now you're seeing they just launched TikTok Shop in the US,
Mm.
and that as an e-commerce function just for the US alone, which is one of the biggest consumer markets in the world, is going to be crazy. Then they have stuff like live that they haven't really cracked yet. There's so many advertiser functions, and like TikTok now, they're focused a lot on signaling this year. So they're just trying to be able to track and get as much data for everybody, which rightly or wrongly, but it's going to help advertisers, because when you can attribute and track and understand who's actually and how to target the audience better, it's going to be an even more powerful function. So it's still really early on, I think.
Yeah, definitely. We were in the last episode that we put out. We chatted with Aaron, and he was saying we just got onto the subject of Twitter or X's advertising product being like terrible, and they just copied Facebook and not doing their own thing. Whereas the other end of that spectrum, I feel like, is TikTok, where it's like so unique. There's so many unique elements that they've thrown in there. It's getting to the point now where you go in, you like don't use it for a few months, and you open it, and you're like, what the hell? I don't understand any of this anymore. But it's great. And shopping. So for people that don't know, and myself included, I don't know if this is true or not. TikTok Shop is that you can just put your own inventory on there, and you can just sell directly through it, just like setting up a store. Is that right?
Yeah. So the way that TikTok Shop works is essentially, as a vendor, there's actually two sides. There's as a creator, which as a creator you can create content and then get paid a commission. But then as a vendor, you can list your own stock and your own SKU.
SKUs,
Yeah, you can list your own SKUs on the platform, and then creators can advertising and get paid a commission. And the good thing about it is that obviously it's kind of like affiliate, but you can get scale with it. And if something organically goes viral, then there's like really good margins to be made, because you don't have to pay as much in advertising anyway. And it's also very authentic. Well, it's as authentic as it can be, because it's a human pushing your product.
That's really interesting. I love that model.
That's really cool. And that might be the way TikTok changed the perception of most advertisers, thinking that TikTok is now a conversion platform. Well, in fact, it is already, but they need a few more tools to prove that it is. The same way Meta has become like any part of the funnel could be a Meta ad and convert people to do whatever you wanted them to do. And they became really, really good at this. I think there's a lot of like perception that needs to change on TikTok still to make it more like a conversion base. So if that's directly trackable to a SKU that you put in any shop, that would be great. That would be great. That's cool. Really cool. What's happening in the live category? Is it a bit of the same? Like you can put your products and sell them as you on video.
So with live, you could do the same thing. Live came before even kind of the TikTok commission side of things for the creators. So live has been there for a while, and it's just that you're seeing. I even saw a case study of there's this Chinese company that created like an AI, a digital virtual person, and I think it's like $1,000 that it costs to create the AI being, and then it made like $1,600 in an hour just like on the live shopping, and it's 24/7. So it's like, I think live can be done in many ways, like with AI, obviously with these bots, but then soon, or then on the other side of things, there's actually creators as well who can monetize well.
The live buy is mad, because like I've seen, and I'm sure you guys seen that too, like some like live studio farms in China and like other places where like you've got real people, but it's almost like it's a factory of people selling fake sneakers and whatever. Like the ones I see always on my feed is like they're trying to sell me like Yeezys and Jordan, you know. And I'm just like, I know they're fake because the price is really low, but I don't know. Like people, there's like thousands of people on these lives, and there's like comments, and the bits that I don't understand is all the art and the bubbles and the gifts and all that shit. Like I don't get that part, but I know that you're paying for, like, you need to use coins for those, and you get access when you like whatever. But the live buy is mad. Like
what's that app? I'm just trying to find it here, but I don't know if I'm finding the right one. My brother was showing me it. It is where people like open Pokemon card packs and stuff and like
Oh,
sell
I
them.
didn't even know that there was an app for that.
It's
But
crazy. It's like I don't think it started out as Pokemon cards, but it's just blown up. For some reason, Pokemon cards are now big again. But you go to it and it's like really nicely. The setups are really nice. The cameras set up really nicely. They've got all the stuff like Yo was saying, like the emojis and stuff popping off. But then they open the packs and they're like fan through. And if you see one you like, you just buy it straight away out of their hand and they like send it off to you. It's
Wow.
crazy.
yeah,
So
that's
live
crazy.
shopping is like QVC on TV was like no one does that shit anymore. But now all of a sudden we've come full circle and
Yeah.
people want to be doing live shopping.
Yeah, it's massive in China. That's the thing. Like, if you look at ByteDance over there, they've just absolutely killed it. So that's why I look at TikTok and I just think of it as a crazy behemoth that's coming over to us, because it's not as though it's actually a start. What it actually is that it's a expansion, geographical expansion of ByteDance. You know, so
Yeah.
everything they're doing is proven already. So it's just coming over here, and they need to optimize it for our market, but they have enough cash to get it right, you know.
For sure. For sure. Have you seen, just going back into like what you see from your agency and the clients the brands you work with, like have you seen any good example of live, not necessarily live shopping, but live being used by brands to generate some sort of engagement or traction?
That's actually a good question. I think none come to my mind immediately,
Yeah.
but I've had thoughts of how it could be executed well. Main reason being because we've done it a lot we did it from the creator side, and I even tested some stuff myself. But I think with live, as a brand, you got to think about not just like you want to retain the users, because they're gonna build affinity with you through the live. So I think it depends on the KPI, because if you're using live for just immediately like conversion, I don't think that's going to be like a direct response thing. I think what you want to do is you want to build up the audience, or build up the relationship with your audience through live, and use it as probably a re-engagement funnel, or use it as a way to as a soft touch point for your audience. Because if you're Burberry and you're going live and you're showing your latest collection or your latest collabs, you know, or you have Burberry and it's like Michael B. Jordan doing something on live, like that's something that the audience is already there and they want to engage. And then from that, you could then say, all right, well, maybe we'd have live shows that are focused on engagement. Then as you grow it, you have live shows that are focused on conversion, you know? But I think a lot of brands, what happens is that they forget that with marketing, especially when it's a new channel or new product, that they try and rush in for the sale. And that makes sense because of the time that we're in terms of you need to get ROI when you're delegating your time and your team. But I think if you're a big enough company to have a brand focus, then you can use live as a way to engage your community and then have it as a way to convert. So
that's a good point. I also never saw brand doing like, maybe besides fashion, maybe I've seen like the Louis Vuitton live show, and they put it live on TikTok as well as it's happening they do it on YouTube and stuff. But the only other things that comes to mind, and it's dating back to when I was at Deliveroo and when Facebook launched Facebook Live. I think we were doing, I don't think we were doing free meal on a random bench in the UK in London, and you had to like, the camera was filming the food until two people would sit down and eat the food like for free. Basically, it was like a giveaway, location based. Find the food and it's for free, like it's burgers or whatever. And I always think about that kind of thing, like how can you get people to watch something random happening on screen? Like, I don't know, there's some live actually on TikTok that are not from brands but are quite interesting, like also a bit weird. Watch me sleep, watch me work, and they have like, nothing's happening, but people are just here, watch the ice melt,
Yeah.
And it's like, can you guess when the ice is gonna be fully melted or what? Like, there's some random shit like that.
Yeah.
That could be interesting for some brands, some verticals, like just some engagement.
It is
That
crazy
will
when people
be.
watch.
Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
No, I was gonna say, I think that would be good for like a drinks brand, for like the ice melting. And I think with live, if you're a brand, the best way to probably get it right is to just gamify it. Like whatever whatever your product is, gamify something around that, and then you're on your way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, something like quick to a website, guess something and enter your email address. You might get like tens of thousands of email address from one live.
Yeah.
Have you seen those that business called Flown, and they do the live accountability sessions? So basically, if you want to do some deep work, but you just keep getting distracted, then you pay a subscription and you all join a Zoom at the same time, and you all have your camera on, so you can like call each other out. You're like, you'll stop working, like put your phone down, and people love it. It's like it's growing like crazy.
That sounds like the complete opposite to the productivity.
To being focused.
Yeah, it's like it makes sense. It's like one of those things. It makes so much sense in theory, and then I'm just like, wouldn't you just end up just watching everybody else?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I wonder how
It's
that
crazy.
works. I wonder
Yeah,
if it's actually working like successful.
Who knows? Yeah, I've seen quite a lot of press about it, but you never know. It's great. I mean, what an easy business, right? You just get you don't have to do anything. You just get a Zoom. Everyone gets on a Zoom, and you're earning money for them just sitting there doing nothing.
That's
crazy.
Go for it, Jake. Did you have a question?
No, I was just gonna say, Yoke is because it's like a marketplace, right? So you have to when you started that up, you need to find not only the brands but also the talent as well. How did you approach that challenge, that kind of chicken and egg?
So when we first started up, we basically it was me just doing outreach, like DMing, emails, like just the dog work at the beginning. And the reason being is because at the end of the day, no one's gonna trust you immediately. But fortunately, when we actually started on TikTok, so back in like our first campaign on TikTok was on June 2019. So back then, views, we would DM or would email creators who are getting millions of views, and we'll say how much for a post, and they'll say like $50, and it was like legit, it was like crazy because we were coming off of Instagram where we'll DM or speak to people who are getting like 4K views on their story, and I would say, yeah, that's like £5,000, for a post. And we go on TikTok and it's like $50, and we were just like, this is crazy. So we had a huge adoption and at the beginning, and a lot of those creators have now either scaled into being like some of the biggest creators on the platform. Like some of them have tens of millions, and like it's funny because you've seen their growth, but then others who haven't matured in their content, they're like now on the UGC side, so they're just like, look, well, I just want to get on this content treadmill. So fortunately, timing helped us a lot in the market, and then as we've evolved as a business, we've just been able to kind of leverage that, reactivate our database at times, and do quite a few different things in terms of like engaging it. But there was a massive community aspect to it as well, because I think at the time there wasn't much competition. So now everybody's trying to say that they could do UGC or work with creators, stuff like that, which I think is cool because that's how a natural market cycle will go. But for us, we still have to just improve our offering and offer different things. So yeah.
And so do you differentiate, I'm not sure if I understood when you said that, do you differentiate like content creation from the UGC treadmill work, or do you kind of umbrella it all under as UGC?
So there's a couple type of ways that you break down content in terms of working with us. So there's actual posts. So some of our creators will post and then they'll actually give the Spark Ads link, which is one way. Then other creators will just post or they won't even post, or just make the content,
right?
And then the client will acquire that. Then there's other creators who want to post organically as well, and brands want that. So they're the three main ways. But for us, it is kind of a hand glove package, because if you think as a brand or app, everybody needs something different. So it's about us kind of sitting down and picking the best way to leverage creators.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
like a matchmaking kind of element going on there as well.
Yeah, to an extent, because, for example, even if you're in the same category as like another brand or another app, what would happen is that you may be at a different stage of your life cycle. So the requirements for a big fintech company is completely different for a new challenger fintech, you know? So,
Tell me
and
about it.
yeah, exactly. And the way and also it's like the way that you can engage and the legal constraints and the backlash and also the team as well. Like some teams they're a lot more like, look, let's just win by any way, and others are like, we have like some of the biggest investors in our industry, so legally we're really constrained, you know.
Yeah.
So there's, and then also it's like preference in terms of, as a marketer, at times you may see something where you made, and you know what we're like in marketing. You listen to one podcast, you might listen to this, and you're like, "Yep, I'm changing the whole strategy tomorrow." Like, you know, oh yeah, this works. I heard this. So, it is sometimes a lot of the us as well is just like the consulting side of like actually saying this is the best way for you to achieve your goal and leverage that side of things, because it's not a one size fits all type of problem that we're trying to solve.
Yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense. And for those who don't know, Spark ads on TikTok is when you use someone else's video as your ad, so they come up as the creator's name on the feed, not as your brand.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of, what is it called on Instagram? Whitelisting. They call it
Yeah.
whitelisting or something.
Yeah, brand partnership.
yeah,
Like.
brand partnership. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. Really cool. And I want to go one level deeper into like what makes like good content on TikTok right now. What I like about TikTok is that the frontier between paid and organic has completely been blurred. Like a few years ago when TikTok didn't exist, the performance team, marketing team, and the brand team were doing completely different stuff, with like a different set of creative. And, it was even before influencer marketing. That was like madness compared to now.
Yeah.
But now it's very blurred. But like, what do you see right now in this year being like a good starting point, even if it's different from everyone? Like, what makes success? Yeah.
Well, the way that we look at it and the way that I just look at it personally, because I would say I'm addicted to TikTok in a way that I'm always researching, and you see, I've got like thousands of videos downloaded. So the way that you would look at it for me is breaking it down into the visual, then the structure and the audio, and the levers that you have for each three. Is that with the visual, it's definitely getting the hook right, which is obvious, because at the end of the day, if you can't grab someone's attention, they're not gonna watch the rest of your ad or the rest of your content. Then the structure is like how you're gonna relay the information. So is that going to be like a get ready with me, a day in the life, a point of view like education facts video, and then finally the audio is so important, which I think a lot of advertisers don't realize, because depending on the type of audience that you're targeting, you want to get the audio right. So, for example, if you're like a sports company and you're targeting a lot of like NBA type fans, if you were to put country music on that ad or that content, it may not resonate as well with the audience that you're targeting, So audio is really important, and like even if you're older, targeting like an older female audience, like the pacing of that, you might want to slow it down, and it's not as like wham bam hit in your face. So I think understanding the levers of content, and there's so many different layers to it in terms of we've broken it down, have like a methodology internally, but understanding the layers, and then coming up with concepts, testing them, and then once you get the data in, even if it's a couple hundred views, then if you're not getting that many views, or or if that's for organic, then look at the hooks. But if you're not getting that good watch through rate for the ads, look at the hooks, and then kind of go from there. But it does start from like the hooks, the audio, and the type of structure.
Yeah, that's a good framework. I think looking at TikTok on a regular basis should give anyone some sort of ideas of like, how do you start a video? What is the
Yeah.
first phrase and what's on the screen, for someone to just not continue scrolling to the next video. And I think that's definitely the most important part. You mentioned the music. I think the issue with music, especially for brands, when you're making the content, is like branded accounts don't have access to a ton of music. Is there a way around that maybe we don't know, or do you have to stick to what you've been given? Or maybe working with creator means that they can use anything, and then that goes into your ads somehow. I don't know. What do you
Yeah, I
think?
think obviously there's the commercial library at times.
Yeah.
Some brands even like get their own music created for their ads as well, which is cuts costs. But obviously
Yeah.
you haven't got that budget. I think a lot of the creators themselves, by working with them through Spark Ads, there's like a lot of benefits that you could probably gain from that in terms of the music library, because like I haven't had as many issues with it, and I don't want to, the ones where you're like, I don't want to jinx it or fumble the bag. Like
Yeah.
I would say, like probably try working with creators and Spark Ads.
Yeah.
Likely that you would have a lower barrier to entry.
Yeah, let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they launch something? TikTok launched something not too long ago where if you're a recording artist, you could like somehow piggyback. It was like a program where people could like pick your music to have in their ad, and that was a way of like growing your profile as well.
Yeah. I think I've forgotten the name of that. It's called like TikTok. It's like Sound On or something like that.
Yeah, so that sounds right.
But like with TikTok, because TikTok and the music industry are so heavily ingrained, and now it's like they can actually kind of generate revenue together. So what you do see is like a lot of the smaller artists and TikTok do have. I haven't like, it's not my side of the business, but I know that they do invest and work with artists well, to help them grow, because then there's a few benefits. Number one, if you're TikTok and you have the power and the platform, you can tell more stories, which will attract more creators, attract more brands. But then obviously, if you're a a music label, or record label, or artist, then it's just another way to grow yourself or your product, and scale it. So I think there is opportunities there, but I'm not the number one person to answer.
Yeah, it's very cool. I love it that you got songs that are charting just off the back of their success, going viral on TikTok. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like who's that girl? Tyler. There's another trend that's going on now, and
okay.
even you see Ice Spice, for example. Like Ice Spice literally is blown up like to another level. One, she's a good artist. I think her song, even though it's a bit gimmicky, I even bopped my head to it. But like she's blown up. Historically, like a few years ago, like when TikTok first blew up, I think Lil Nas X was one of the first artists to blow up on TikTok. But then there's a lot of artists that are executing TikTok well. Even I'll shout out Jo with 22 as well. He's another artist that's up and coming and killing it, mainly due to TikTok and being able to utilize the platform.
It's like what you said about finding the hooks for any brands, or like it's the same for artists. It's like if you can work on that 20 second hook part of your song, and that catches up on TikTok, then you write the rest of the song. I've heard of that. Like you just make a portion of it, and then you write the verses if the video does well.
You can
That's quite
a lot.
interesting.
It's funny because some of my friends in the music industry are like, they kind of hate that because they're like, it takes the artistry away from music, and like it makes people, instead of focus on creating bodies of work, and like the best music is timeless, you know, but they're like, it makes people just focus on creating gimmicks that kind of ruins the industry
for the trends. For the trends right now. No, for sure. I think it's like everything else. If you're the next, I don't know, I don't want to give the wrong names, but if if you're super talented, you'll rise to the top even without TikTok, because your music would be like so good. You know, eventually you'll be found out, even if it's at a bar in Camden somewhere.
You would hope so, but it's mad how much control, or not really control, but influence they have over culture in like all these different elements of culture that
maybe it's not true.
One platform
I'd say it's like everything, you know. I think in every single industry, like what we're seeing now is like, if you're not building a brand for yourself or thought leadership in some way in your industry, and I think music is just one of the most mature ones where you've seen it in front of everyone's eyes, that if you're like able to market yourself or position yourself as number one, then you can kind of get exponential gains. But I think throughout, I see some crazy stuff on TikTok. Like there's this guy, he gets leather, and then he basically does like leather tests to see the quality of leather, and he's got millions of followers on TikTok. And it's like, it's crazy because he's like, he gets like Prada bags that are like £2,000, and then what he'll do is that he will cut them up and he will like test the leather, and it's like, he is someone who's like a craftsman, and he's probably in his industry, all at the leather trade shows, like everyone's just dapping him up and stuff, you know. It's like it's a powerful tool if you know how to use it right.
It is.
Definitely. It's crazy when you see someone with a huge following. There's a guy who, I don't even know how he came up on my Instagram, but he's called oh fucking hell, what's his name? Silverback Tarzan or something like that. He's like this 55-year-old dude with like, he's completely ripped, and he does all these like motivational speaking things, and he's got like 200,000 followers.
That's mad.
It's crazy. And then he was front row for like the AJ fight a few months ago, and after the like Anthony came out of the ring afterwards, and he walked past his guy and he was like, "Hey, I follow you on Instagram," and he like, it's crazy.
That is mad.
It's mad.
Yeah, I think definitely find your niche. Like even me, I'm trying to push my own narrative and content, like on like TikTok and stuff. And I think just finding your niche, because like sometimes it's like we'll sit and we won't practice what we preach, but like I definitely believe that building your own personal brand long term is essentially a recession-proof type of business model.
Recession-proof, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah, I saw one of your video popped off recently, like on a bike. You do a lot of video on bikes now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got like one that got like, I don't know, 300,000 views. I guess nice.
Yeah. It blew up a bit. It's like, because me and my friends like were very active. So we for years like we've been doing like we climbed Everest. We've been doing like ultra marathons, all of this stuff. And then I was like, well, you know what? It's probably worth us just starting to share our document. And my whole life is literally business and fitness. You know, they're like my two passions. So I was like, why don't I just kind of merge it and start to just share my opinion? And what's happened is that I've actually fallen in love with like content creation, like because even though it's like me making the content, it leads back to me when I'm advising brands and marketing. I'm like, well, I'm thinking as a creator in the process, but I can also think as a marketer. So it's like, it's just like a merger of like multiple worlds, and it's fun. It's more fun than anything as well.
It's fun. Yeah. Especially when you have something to talk about, right? Like when you're building something and you can document it, like it makes it it's very logic. It can be addictive, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what I realize is that I constantly get into conversations with a lot of different people, a lot of young people, a lot of older people who are asking me about one, not just TikTok, but two, just advice. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people, they ask me, oh, what podcast should I listen to? All of this stuff. So I was like, I'm pretty sure that there's a lot more people out there that would probably want to hear, you know?
Definitely. The amount of message that we get through this podcast since June is
Yeah.
mental. It just gone crazy, and it feels like we're just getting started, but it's the same thing. It's like that literally 2 days ago, shout out to my boss Crawford at Nude, who like literally referenced something I said in the podcast, and I was like, "You
That's
listening to every episode?" And he was like, "Yeah." So now I need to be careful. So like he's listening,
right.
I need to shout out to my boss. But yeah, no, it's mad. It's mad. Like it definitely, like you said, like it's recession proof. Like it proves like you're in whatever industry you're in, if you're documenting it and getting more people in your field to interact with you in that way, it makes your reputation, let's call it that, grows a little bit bigger
It's mad
over the
motivating.
weeks.
It's like let me ask are you coming in here? Oh fuck. One sec.
I love the you're sitting there and then someone just appears at the glass door and you're looking at each other. Everyone knows what's going on, but you got this room booked. I'm always like referencing things on this podcast and I can never remember remember it, so I'm doing it such a disservice. But it was like only 1%, or maybe it was even less than 1% of people post on LinkedIn. So even though you're scrolling it and you're like, oh man, there's like everyone's posting about like marketing stuff on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's like such a tiny amount of people that just posting one thing a week, you're just like, people will be like, oh my god, you post weekly to LinkedIn? That's crazy.
Yeah. Now that makes sense. I think with LinkedIn, that was my number one for a bit. And then but what I realized is I was like, I like LinkedIn and I like writing on it, but then I have to allocate my time well enough. So then, and because I actually write my posts, like I do the research as well. So then I was like, how do I do this? So the strategy that I think I've gone with now is that I grow my TikTok, but then I can put my TikTok content on LinkedIn, and it has the same effect.
Oh yeah, nice.
So yeah.
That's a good.
That's a shortcut.
Yeah. And
we definitely don't do enough. Sorry, go on. Yeah. I was just going to say we definitely don't do enough with our video content for this pod.
We've fallen behind, but can you already put a link into your TikTok account to funnel people somewhere else as well? Can you already do that?
Yeah, so if you have like a Bitly or one of those like links, you can have multiple links in your bio. But I think what I realized is that LinkedIn, basically people are starting to just post TikTok content on LinkedIn anyway. So I was it's like I might as well kill two birds with one stone. And like even my Instagram's been growing recently because of my TikToks. So it's like I was like, let me start at the source and then like kind of go from there.
That's a good shout. Yeah, we've fallen behind on the clips for this podcast for a few weeks now. We need to get back to it, at least to have them and see what we can do. I think
I need an excuse to get, like, when we started doing this, I was like, right, I'm gonna get a microphone. Got the microphone, and I was like, now I'm gonna get like a YouTube quality camera for the video. And it's like, well, we get like 5 views on the video, so there's no point doing it. So we need the videos on YouTube need to match the level of listens for the podcast, and then it will allow us to like geek out and buy all this expensive shit. So Jide, when you said about, no, I think it was you, when you said about people doing the watch me work TikTok streams, I was like, I might do that this week. I mean, talk about an easy thing to do.
Yeah, you should try. Like even my bike rides, like I live streamed them. And then I didn't get that, but I got a few hundred views. But then what I realized is that with live streams, the best hack is that you literally just have a conversation with one person and then everybody watches that conversation, you know? So live streaming is actually not that difficult because all you need is one person on it. and have a conversation there. And it's even fun because like there was one guy who was on my live and he was like trying to run up the likes, and he was just telling me, yeah, I'm getting the likes, it will get more people to watch yours. And it's just like that in itself was fun. And I'm doing that obviously on a bike ride and stuff. So yeah.
But
Yeah,
wait,
that's
how
nice.
do you watch the screen? Do you put your phone in front of the on the bike itself, or?
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
what I'm actually gonna do is get the setup even madder because I've got two phones anyway. So what you can do is that you can have dual camera on the live anyway. But what I think I'm
Oh,
gonna do is just have I already got a phone stand on my bike. Then I'm gonna have another camera synced to the phone and then try and see how that works because then you can see like the front view, but then you
That's
can
cool.
also see myself talking, which so yeah, it's work in progress, isn't it? I'm building in public.
yeah. There are levels to this, and this is the next one.
You guys are doing well. I think that's the thing with podcasts as well. Is like I think it's the most valuable way to build an audience. So,
Mm,
because like when you think about when people actually listen to podcasts, like everyone's probably listening to it now, either on the commute when they're
mm,
driving, maybe at home when they're just chilling, maybe
yeah.
like doing something or traveling. So that's the time when you're usually in your own thoughts or having
Yeah,
mind.
yeah, yeah.
So when you're on a podcast right now, we're actually their thoughts. You know, we're actually having a conversation with the person.
In
But if
someone's
you're,
brain. It's crazy, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
Have you seen this? Who's the comedian? It's like that funny clip where it's a show or one of those American roast, and it's who's doing that? It's like I'm your conscience right now. Have you seen that one? Oh, I don't know.
nah, I haven't even seen it.
It's not Eddie Murphy, but it's I need to find it. I'll put it if I'll put it in the show notes. But it's so funny. It's like yeah,
It
it's
sounds like it
Make
would be
someone
like
think.
Andrew Schultz or something.
uh, yeah. It's basically that. It's like you're in someone's brain and you're
Yeah,
giving them
some subliminal messaging that they think that,
thoughts.
oh shit, I thought that. I listened to I mean this is going off on a tangent, but I listened to the most recent Lenny's podcast
Yeah.
yesterday, and there's so many times I don't think I've ever had this from maybe a video or reading something. Like you read stuff and you get inspired, and you watch stuff and you get inspired. When I listen to something, it just stays in my mind more. And
Yeah,
the thing that the guy said, it literally influenced something I did at work today, like a strategy we put in place. So
Mm,
hopefully having that direct
mm,
to the brain sense, through the ears is powerful.
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah. It's crazy the power of audio.
Mm,
And like I've obviously one of my goals this year was to just get better at copywriting. So I've actually been
mm,
doing like a lot of like copywriting, and just like understanding how to be a better storyteller, and it
Yeah.
actually helps you in so many ways because I used to get so frustrated because I couldn't articulate my ideas or I'd have so many thoughts running through my mind all day, and then
Mm,
I'm not able to actually communicate that to people.
mm.
So I think by actually learning how to copyright, will influence every type of
yeah,
content creation that you have.
for sure. And you did
That's a good shout.
a TED talk this year, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
part of getting better at storytelling, I guess, right? How did that go? Is it all right?
Yeah, it went well. Like I think it was actually interesting because for some reason I can't remember how I got it, but I had a book called How to Do a TED Talk or something like that. That was like in my top drawer. So then the way the TED Talk actually came about was that I was on the mountain. I was actually climbing Everest. And then
Wow.
I got a message and it was like, I've been trying to contact you for weeks. We got this TED Talk. Let me know it's in 3 weeks. And I was like, huh? Like, so I messaged my PA. I was like, oh, yeah, just get this one, book it in. And then and from then on, I was just like, well, I was kind of in Nepal, and I was just thinking about like, what am I gonna say? How do I articulate myself?
Yeah.
And then I practiced for a bit. Practice was and then it ended up happening. And the proudest moment was like my mum and my auntie. I think that was good
Oh.
because they were able to like they were just like seeing people come up to me and like and I didn't know how impactful words could be until after I actually watched that. Oh no, after the response after the TED talk is when I
Mm,
realized.
yeah, that's awesome. That's
That's
great.
crazy. And I didn't know this until this morning, and hopefully I've done my research properly. But did you grew up around Ipswich, or you played for Ipswich? You played
Oh,
football professionally, right, for a bit?
yeah. So I used to play for Ipswich. I'm from London, but then I used to play for Ipswich in the youth team. Are you from Ipswich?
No, I'm not from there. I'm from London, but I moved out. I live in Colchester now, so not far away
Ah,
from
yeah,
Ipswich.
yeah. It's around the corner, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's not far away. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's an interesting story, man. Like we're getting to the end of the podcast, and we're just talking about career changes. But the
yeah,
change from football career to running a TikTok agency is an interesting one.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, football was my first love, and like I still love it. And like I got ambition. Like I've always said that when I left football, I was like, I want to just come back and buy a club. So like that's a
There you
long term goal. It doesn't matter what tier. To be honest, actually, being real, I want to buy Ipswich. Um,
go.
so so yeah, but obviously, yeah, that's just yeah, it was my first love, and I still like
Mm.
football. I'm just looking at it from a different lens now.
Yeah, yeah,
That's fine. You can be
that's
the
cool.
next Wrexham. You can own the next Wrexham and
Yeah,
get it on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
There's
That's
massive
mad.
opportunity. But that's what I'm seeing a lot now is the convergence of kind of business, culture,
Mm.
sport, fashion, music. Like there's like this triangle that I kind of see that
Yeah,
everything's falling under, and where there's gonna be a business or brand that gets it right and really like becomes the world's biggest brand when it hits a nail in between in that circle because
Mm,
they're or in that triangle someone will create something that fits all three like a hand in the glove and
yeah.
it's gonna create the world's most valuable brand because there
Mm.
is a convergence of all of them and the football clubs can't get it too right because it's so very it's like very I wouldn't say it's like conservative. I'd say like in terms
mm,
of what you can
mm,
say compared to like the NBA, but then the music labels as well. They have their vested interests, but then the brands as well. They're not athletes, so like there's something there that I see that can
mm.
really be a powerful force for culture, and but I think
Yeah,
we're very close to getting it, not in the form like of Yoke as my business, but somebody will get it right in over the next few years, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, all you got to do is look at something like Red Bull that's kind of tapped into like sport and maybe music a bit, and they haven't necessarily nailed all of them, but it's such a powerful
yeah,
mix when you get that stuff connected up.
yeah.
Yeah. Because the way I see it is that it won't just be powerful in the sense that Red Bull, the way that if you look at it, it's like the drink itself, the product itself, is like you can't live on Red Bull for the rest of your life. You know, it's like. But I think
Mm.
the product that is created will be beneficial to everybody,
Mm,
in a way that would
Mm.
like it's gonna be something that's gonna help people in a healthy way
Yeah,
more than anything. And especially with like if you look at just content creation alone, like people can monetize in so many different ways. So that's part of the reason why there's this
yeah,
convergence because like the digital platforms now are at a stage where they're their own world. Like
mm.
yeah.
I saw a TikTok yesterday where this guy was talking about the tube girl. Have you seen her on TikTok? The
No, that
the
makes sense.
tube.
No.
So there's this girl who goes on the tube and she makes these in the real world, they're very cringy TikToks. So she's dancing and like in the middle of a busy tube. Like imagine if you saw someone dancing and stuff,
Yeah.
making a TikTok. But then it goes super viral. Like she's been posting this content for a few months now, and she walked in London Fashion Week. Yeah, like she
Wow.
blown up. Yeah,
Mm.
and then the trend has gone now to like the US and what it was is like the guy was making a point that actual concept of going on the tube in the real world you'd be embarrassed to do that but the value of going viral and the value of the
Mm.
digital world is so much more valuable that it over shadows the embarrassment in the real world.
Interesting.
Like how you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. It's more powerful than what people in the real life are gonna think. I've also danced in the tube very late at night in my youth, not for TikTok, for other reasons, and
yeah.
so it's either TikTok or alcohol, like one of these, like more powerful than the embarrassment.
Well, it's been great, Jide. Thanks so much for chatting with us. We only got through like 2 of the things that we wanted to talk about, but it's been a great discussion. So thanks a lot.
We'll do this again.
Yeah, for sure. Like again, I love to speak to you guys again. I think what you guys are doing is phenomenal. It's very much needed. It's refreshing. I think you're disrupting an industry that is one that is very linear in terms of the way that it's thinking. Even though we think that everyone's different, but there's a lot of people kind of copying and doing the same stuff. And what you guys are doing is refreshing. So keep on going. I'll be listening. And
nice one, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Jide. Have a good day.
Have a great day, guys. See you.
See ya.
Nice one, man.
Bye.